in this way, the last section is called Traveling with the Spirit, and a large number of those poems have to do with my daughter, because somehow I think our children take us on that particular experience of getting in touch with the spirit of who we are. This poem is called Orange and Black, and it has to do with, my daughter was about 2 or 3, and I had carved this Halloween pumpkin and put it on the mantle, and now it's 3 weeks later and the thing is rotting, and she's adopted, and every time I try to take it out and put it in the trash, she flips out and cries. So I wind up like a thief, sneaking this orange pumpkin out in the middle of the night, taking it out of the trash. Orange and Black. I was a thief in my daughter's sleep. The burden I carried, the Halloween pumpkin, had become grotesque, with broken orange teeth that parodied the smiles of saints whose names I memorized in parochial school. For a week, my 2-year-old daughter grew hysterical with each attempt to remove it from the windowsill because she believed it was a blessed creature she could talk to. What secrets they must have shared. Did she know I feared death and walked with my head bowed under the heavens, except now when I look up at clusters of stars that punctuate the distance between us? How long did I stand in the yard, unable to cry for her, myself, or even a dead word? I think of our lives and how we are often frightened and confused until something brings us clear and awake, as I am, from this dream of a face round as a moon, with eyes like fire leaping through dark night. So, sometimes poems come to you through conversations with others, and that poem did. That last line, for a friend of mine, Kevin, from the Cloud and Stars, well, I went up to him and I said, I've got a line for a poem, I have to tell you, and I told him. He said, yeah, that works. And so I wrote it down. That was the last line of this poem. Then the book came out. I had one memorable moment at the Cloud and Stars when it was packed wall-to-wall people. And Kevin comes up to me, grabs me, picks me up in the air, twirls me around, and says, I am the required dance. This poem is called How We Pray. I lived in a very interesting place with a lot of joy and a lot of love. Part of it was a poverty-ridden area, predominantly black, in Rochester, New York. 4 of us were renting a house, part of a house, for about $70 a month. My share of the rent was $17.50. Some months I couldn't come up with that. And I'm in the throes of this divorce, and my daughter is dropping my ex-wife is dropping my daughter off into this poverty coming from suburban Rochester. And there was a Baptist church in the area, and we used to walk through there, and my daughter would ask me about it, and ask me about the singing. I got into this thing about how that's how some people pray. And so we had a regular routine of going to this church on Sundays. She was about 2 or 3 years old, and they used incredible hymns, song. How we pray. We walk through a place where men sleep in elegant cars, and voices flutter onto the street like magnolias across a lawn. At the Baptist church, women sing, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. My 3-year-old child wants to know what those people are doing. I tell her, this is how we pray. And then the spirit has faith in its body. That is why there is dancing. A hymn demands we go to a mountain. The gleam of sweaty faces and rhythm of clapping hands will take us there. Not poverty, need for grace is what we believe. My daughter, rich from her mother's country, doesn't notice her father lives poor, but understands flowers rise from the mouths of the forgotten. All right, a couple more here. Like I said, bounce back between a very rural and a very urban existence. This is it's a poem called The Clearing. At the edge of a forest, just beyond a fork in the road, leaves sparkle like rubies and branches heavy with autumn form an archway over the path. I sit on rocks at the beginning of this tunnel of light which glows through a world that should be better. I hear rifle fire in the distance and closer, a stream. There's a rustling, then the breaking of twigs, and a man enters the clearing. He carries a gun, and a large hunting knife is strapped to his belt. Both of us are momentarily startled, but noting our membership in the same species, we nod, and he passes on. Several times from the porch of the house a mile away, I saw a friend's husky shepherd run with strikingly graceful speed. We said, on such occasions, he looked like a deer. Last winter, a hunter thought the same thing. Again, I listen to a series of explosions and think of the men in the woods, how they'll meet this evening in a country bar, drink beer, boast about the size of their kills, and return to their beds where something unrecognizably beautiful and doomed will stir briefly beneath the eyes of their sleep. Thank you. All right, I'm gonna close with this poem. It's the last poem in the book, and a little story behind it. It's called Poem from Richard Hugo. Hugo was a poet that had a major influence on my work, and he was directing the creative writing program at the University of Montana for some years. And in 1982, I went there with the idea of just being near him, just being around him, I guess. You know, we had written letters. He said, yeah, I'll come in, sit in my classes, no problem. Anyway, the whole thing, Hugo got sick, so I found myself in Montana, broke and kind of hitchhiking across the state. And it was August, 80, 90 degrees at night, or during the day rather, and 30 degrees at night. So I'm out there hitchhiking with a backpack, a typewriter, shoulder-length hair, a full beard, earring dangling out of my ear, and I'm trying to get out of the state of Montana. And at some point, I started to hallucinate and see things that weren't there.
Mushrooms.
Talk to people that weren't there. And which is another poem. So